Good evening. Welcome once again to In the Hot Seat with Deborah, Fennella and Tom Bryant.
Hello.
Hello, wherever you are in the world. Now, we're really excited to have fantastic movie director and founder of Lumino Films, Jane Lumino, on the show this evening, talking about her amazing projects and her films as well. So good evening, Jane. How are you?
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Oh, me too as well. I've been so excited because obviously being a budding actress myself as well and invested interest in the film industry. It's really exciting to be talking to you about your amazing projects. Now, you've won so many awards, Jane. I've been reading up on you. You've won 39 awards for Best Director, Best Actress, Best Short Film, also trailer, cinematography, and also score as well. And I would like to ask you, first of all, what guided you down this path in the very beginning, please?
Well, I started off teaching drama at schools and workshops. I've got 5 girls, so I did it in between them. You know, sometimes I took time out because they were growing up. And about 10 years ago, so I wrote plays and I directed, you know, stuff and taught people drama. So I was kind of in the, you know, I was in the industry, I guess. And then my youngest daughter decided she wanted to be a movie actress about 10 years ago. And I hadn't been working since she was born. So that was, you know, quite a few years. And she sort of inspired me, I guess. And I thought, oh, I'd like to do this because it you know, it's all the arty things. Like I love costume and set design, and I like writing and I like directing. And so I thought, well, I'll try and do this. And I just sort of, wherever she went, I would say to the people, oh, do you want, you know, can I help you? Can I, you know, even like running jobs at my age sort of thing, like just getting in there sort of thing. Yeah, so I did location hunting and casting and stuff like that. And then I just gradually moved into, because I kind of directed before, you know, like I've directed plays and at school and stuff, but not big time. And I thought, well, I like writing too. So I'll just give it a go, and I just flung myself in there, foolishly or not, I don't really know.
I mean, it sounds fantastic. And one thing I would really love to know is, what was the very first short movie that you wrote, and what inspired you to write it as well, Jane, please?
Oh, you've got a very old, one of my favourites there, a picture. Yeah, the very first one. It sounds funny now because, of course, everybody is obsessed by their phones. But when my youngest daughter first got a BlackBerry, you know, they've gone now, haven't they, BlackBerry phones? She was obsessed with it. I thought, this is ridiculous. So I made my first film about her, like, walking across the road with her face in the phone, and like cars would screech up because she just wasn't looking at anything. She missed the bus to school. This was just in the story. You know, et cetera, and that got 120,000 likes on YouTube.
Wow,
really? That's amazing.
That's amazing.
So I thought, oh, well, maybe I've got something, and you know, I sort of carried on from there. So,
what did you do to say, Jen, when you know, actually did the script around her, just to sort of say, hey, remember me and come off your phones?
Yes, yeah, it was like a little prompt, but this is what you look like. She played the part as well, and she's a very, you know, she's a very nice little actress, so she did get it, but I don't think it changed anything. And now I'm obsessed with my phone, you know. It's 10 years on and I've got my iPhone.
I'm
always there.
They can be quite addictive, can't they? Because like you say, you know, whenever you're doing anything on social media, it's fantastic because you can multitask on your phone rather than set up a laptop, can't you? So it does make things a lot more easier, especially when you're promoting like your show reels or your films as well. And you can just sort of do a post and then share it on the other social medias as well via your mobile phone, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Though, you know, I'd like to cut back a bit, but it is a very useful tool. Well, she was just going on there to chat, you know, in the early days. Obviously, she does her business on there now because she has a business, but she's 24 now.
You must be so proud.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really exciting. So have you actually done acting yourself on film set, Jane?
I haven't actually done acting. Oh, well, I did once, actually, to stand in for a lady who didn't turn up. For one of my films, which is, you know, just like a faux pas for actors completely, because you would never use them again. and you spread, not nastily, but if someone says, who do you want for XX character, you're never going to recommend them. So I just think if you're going to, if you're going to be an actress, be reliable. So yeah, I did stand in then, and obviously I did acting as a youngster. I did my first professional role when I was 11.
Did you? Exciting.
Yeah, and carried on from there. I went to a place called Lane Theatre Arts. It was called Frecker Lane in those days, and that's become quite a famous triple threat school. I think they do a lot of dance and other stuff. I was never very good at dancing, but I can do it, and dancing, singing and acting. And I went there, and things carried on from there, really. Yeah.
It's really exciting. And one thing I would really love to hear about is your amazing workshops as well. And what do they involve on the particular day? I mean, I've recently done a workshop with a particular guy, and with my friend Kim as well. And we were doing this detective scene where I was a detective actually interviewing her, and she was the gangster basically. So with regards to like your scripts, do you write the scripts, or do you get somebody in to write the scripts and then obviously sort of give people a choice to choose from the scripts, or do you literally just have one script where people will read off from rather than having a choice of 2 or 3 scripts to read from?
Yeah, I do like writing. So I do write a lot of my own scripts. Sometimes I bring in other ones, and then I've got another man that I'm working with now, a sort of business partner called Simon O'Cora. He's a really good script writer. He sometimes writes them too. And they don't, what I actually do is everybody sends in, so say you've got 12 people, that's the maximum I can take. So 10 to 12 usually. And they write in with their playing age, and sometimes I ask them what kind of character they want to play. It depends whether it's period or whatever. And so then I kind of have an idea, and I write the characters around them. And then I give them the script. If they absolutely hated it, no one has so far, then I wouldn't mind them saying, I don't like that script or whatever. But, I do sort of maybe ask them along the way. I've just done one about Dracula and somebody, Mina. That's the Gothic one. But he wanted to be a kind of Dracula character. And it's not a silly one, not like it's a serious kind of Bram Stokery based kind of one. Because I think people want a bit of meat in their show reels, unless they ask me for a light comedy, which no one ever has done. So yeah, I do write them, and I do like it. I mean, it's the same old. You're just putting it into Victorian or Edwardian. It's always conflict, isn't it? Like a will. You're orphaned, and you've got to go to a horrible aunt or uncle, or those kind of stories, and you just put them into a period setting. And it seems to have worked. I have done a few from classics like Dickens or Ellen Montgomery, Emily of Moon Farm for the younger people, because, well, actually, Emily of Moon Farm has a horrible aunt.
Was she?
So, yes. But people love that.
Facebook, Jane, sorry to interrupt. So I noticed as I looked for your Facebook page, you was actually casting for an aunt and to do a little bit of presenting as well. Was that the particular film on Facebook?
Yeah, well, I've got, it's quite interesting, really. I don't know if it'll come off yet, but my distributor, I told my distributor who it's very great to get a distributor. It's the first time I've had one for my first feature film. But I was telling him about some of my ideas. And I've got this idea called Quirky, which is a kind of docudrama, and I thought that we don't know yet whether the commissioner will want like a voiceover, or whether they'll want a presenter. So we're doing a few little tryouts for different people and see, and then the commissioner might say, well, that's the kind of person I want to present it, or they might say, no, I don't want any presenter, I want a voiceover. So at this point we're just trying it really and see what, and I mean, none of it might get taken up. It's not a guarantee, but
but you might like the idea, and then you can actually go ahead with the filming, can't you?
Yes, exactly. So it'd be wonderful if it gets commissioned, because then we've got this idea of doing all these different periods through history, and we might even so we'd only have, instead of having 12 people on the workshop, we just have 6 in the morning and then film the place in the afternoon. And then bits of those show reels will probably go into the documentary. Not if they're, only the best bits, if you like. So it's not a guarantee. Yes. It's not a guarantee.
So with regards to the scripts, do you send them to obviously the actors before the actual workshop, so they can have a chance to memorize obviously the script before actually getting on the film set? Or do you say to them, right, okay, this is a script, when they actually arrive to the workshop on the day, and then I'll give you, say for instance, half an hour to memorize it before you start acting out that particular role?
No, they get it before, if not masses before. Sometimes people ask me weeks before if they can have it, but because I have to wait for everyone to book up so that then I can make the scripts, it's about a week to 10 days before. So I've just sent out the ones for the 26th of November, and actually I've sent out quite a few for the 11th of December. So yeah, they've got plenty of time, and then I do encourage them to go with their partner, their acting partner, on Zoom and have a bit of a rehearsal together, so that they're familiar, they don't come in cold. Yeah. So that's how it goes. Sorry, go on.
I know Tom would like to ask you some questions, wouldn't you, Tom?
Yeah. Well, basically, talking more about your workshops. How does it a typical workshop day? How is it structured? I mean, presume they're just one day events, are they? They don't stretch over.
Yes.
For 2 days?
It's in one day. So I can only take a maximum of 12 on the.
How does it
go? Well, they only get a 3-hour slot each couple, so that's why I asked them also to rehearse before. But I do guide them with direction and everything. So they come in, get their hair and makeup and their costume done, then they come down. We block it and rehearse it, and then we film it. And whilst they're having that done, some other ones are sort of, doing their costumes, and it keeps. We work at a terrific pace. That's the honest truth, and try and get through it. And before that, there's a lot of preparation, because I've got to find the locations, find the costumes, write the scripts. So it's not just me turning up on the day, and it's quite a lot of work that's involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slightly more to it than
there certainly is. Out of all the scripts that you've written, is there any particular favourites that you have yourself, and why, please?
I'm very excited about one I've just written, but apart from that, I've put 2 of them. There's actually 3 that I really love. I mean, I like them all, but I put them into best actress and actor competition, a film festival. And actually, you said very kindly, I've got 39 awards. Well, I've just got 2 more best actor and actress, so I've got 41 awards now. But I haven't changed that. But that's a nice extra that people can get. So I make the period ones into a little scene. It's usually about 2.5 minutes long. So you can cut that into your show reel, but they can use it independently. So they can put it into a film festival if they want to, or it's kind of better if I do it if they haven't had any experience, because I kind of know which ones might go for them. And we just did that. So that was one. It was called Disappointment, that just won, and it's a scene of in Victorian times. It's the story of Miss Havisham, from Great Expectations, how she was as a girl. Yeah. So she was a girl. She had a brother, Arthur, and they had their father left them. This is why she is a kind of story a little bit going towards why she ended up as she did. But the brother is distraught because the father's left her everything, and it's that conflict again. So
sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
That sounds really good fun. Have you thought about maybe Jack the Ripper as well? I mean, going back a few years ago, I was in reconstructing Jack, and a friend was going to do like a VR series. And first of all, I played the prostitute, and then I got promoted to the mad Bible bashing lady.
All right.
Which was good fun. And we did actually, Steve did all the photography down in Whitechapel, and it was so much fun. We really did enjoy it. Have you thought about maybe doing something like that, Jane?
Yeah, that sounds a great idea. I love any new things. You know, I like Jack. I'd have to go into the story. I do quite a bit of research, and I've just done this Dracula one, as I just mentioned earlier. So I had to read Bram Stoker's work. I didn't have, you know, I wanted to read it, and it's amazing. It's not at all like the silly kind of Draculas you have. You know, some people have spoofed them, haven't they? But it's quite a serious story, really, about a man looking for love. Really, that's what it's about. And it's like Jack the Ripper. There's another type of story, but it's got sort of some background to it, hasn't it? And it would be very exciting to do something like that. Yeah, so I would like that.
It certainly would. And you could, you know, do a bit of ad lib on it and sort of change a little bit the script and put your own stamp on it, couldn't you, as well?
Yeah, that's right. You can, I mean, you can put a bit of imagination in there, because no one actually knows who Jack the Ripper was, or all his, you know, victims, really, do you? So you could put your own, you know, your own sort of ones in there. So yeah, it would be good. Yeah.
Now, Salima is showing our studio producer and Moinul some of the amazing movies that you have done in the background. I mean, there's quite a lot there, isn't there, that you've done? So you've got Cuckoo in the Nest. You've also got Katia, Tell Me Why, Crushed, The Con Game, Struggle, The Bee Maker, Unborn Child, Momentum Men, The Night Riders, The Con Game, Visitors, and also you're now working on Memento Mori, which is your latest project, which is really exciting as well. And you've set up an Indiegogo crowdfunding page. So please tell our viewers a little bit about that particular project that you're working on now, please, Jane.
Yeah, I'm very, very appreciative and grateful that I've won all these awards, but obviously everybody wants to win, you know, a Biffa, a BAFTA, an Oscar. You know, that's what everyone's working towards. Will you ever get there? You know, you're trying. So
I think you'll get BAFTA, Jane, personally.
Thank you.
You deserve a BAFTA, definitely.
Definitely, yeah. All the effort put in. Yeah.
You do. You work so hard, and I think all of your, you know, rewards are coming now for all of that hard work and the effort and the amazing work that you do. You're a true inspiration, Jane. I think personally in the film industry, most definitely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I sort of I kind of working through the fact of that people, you know, women. Well, thank you. You're putting this one up.
Yes.
This is the story here. So it's a man who
gay love story that
is thinking about a gay lover that he lost in the concentration camps. A lot of people don't know that, apart from, well, a lot of people do know that Romas and disabled people were also killed in the concentration camps, but also gay people. It might seem funny because I'm a heterosexual lady and I'm doing a story about gay men. I feel very strongly about marginalized people, whether they're disabled, a different ethnicity, a different gender or whatever. For me, we're all one human race and we should all accept each other. Obviously, we don't accept criminals or, you know, that sort of thing, or paedophiles. But apart from that, I think I find it very sad when you hear about like bombings in the synagogue because you're anti-Semitic or you know, homophobic attacks or that sort of thing. So I've long thought about this wonderful prize called the Iris Prize, which is only LGBTQ films. And it's a massive, massive prize. It's something like 30,000 is the winning prize. And then you also get shown on Channel 4 or BBC, through that sort of thing. So, you know, it's very
that's really good.
Yeah, and also you're also automatically entered to BAFTA for the long list. Doesn't mean to say you're going to get on it, but you know it is really high up. And I've got quite a few gay friends, and I had for a long time been looking for a script. I tried to write one myself, but it's not so good as somebody who is gay writing it, you know. So Simon Okora, I don't know quite, I'm trying to think back of how I met him, but it was definitely through Facebook. And then when I read his script, I thought, oh, that's wonderful. So the story is about a man, an aging artist looking back on his life, and he was in the Holocaust. It's at the millennium. He's 84 now, and he wants to paint one last portrait of his lover as a sort of in memory of him, in memoriam, you know, memento mori. So, but it's a little bit more than that. So he calls for it's got a lot of layers in it. So he calls for a model, and there's something strange about the whole encounter, and it has got a sort of dreamlike or science fiction-y kind of feel to it, as well as, you know, telling this gay history, if you like. It has a very uplifting ending. I can't say any more. And I just feel that if we can get the money for this, we've got a crowdfund going at the moment, which is on Indiegogo. I don't know if it's down here, but it's
I looked actually this evening, Jane, raised 3,800
yes, yeah, it's doing quite well.
It's doing really, really well. So any of the viewers out there who'd love to donate, you can actually go on Indiegogo and look up Memento Mori portrait film on Indiegogo, and the limit you've actually put on there, Jane, is £10,000, isn't it, to actually shoot it?
Yes, yeah.
So
that's
you're
what
halfway there, which is fantastic, in 17 days.
Yes. Yeah, very grateful to all those people who supported us. You know, thank you so much. Yeah, so we're hoping to get there. We have, I can't say who it is. Oh, thank you. Yes, that
the page has actually added it. So that's the actual page for everybody that's watching. If you go on to Indiegogo, and you can actually click on that particular page, and then you can actually make a donation as well. So thank you so much for everyone that has donated, like Jane said. And if anyone else would like to donate to support it, we're truly grateful. Yes, and a wonderful story, Jane, as well, like you said.
I think it's, you know, but love, we all know what love is. And so I think you can be empathetic with the story. And we can all kind of recognize that sort of long-term love that some people do have, you know, that just lasts for years, whatever happens to the person, if they die or if they leave them or whatever, then, you know, so I'm hoping it's a universal theme, not just an LGBTQ theme, but obviously it is about them. And we also wanted to, Simon particularly, wanted to give voice to people who died there. Thousands or hundreds of thousands of gay men died in the camps. Others, when they were liberated, it's awful. So they were liberated like skeletons, and they had to go straight to prison because homosexuality wasn't allowed till 1972. So they had this extra 30 years, you know, being incarcerated. And a bit like, I don't know if you saw It's a Sin. Did you see that at all? It's a Sin?
Yes, that's really good. The 80s.
Yeah, and then if you saw on the end of that, they a lot of men were just too ashamed to let their family know, so they kind of died alone really because it was such a yeah. And I think this is the same kind of thing, that many men didn't want people to know that they'd been in the camps, and so they hid it. And so Simon wants to give a voice to those men who died for something.
And I think, like you say, a lot of people can relate to the actual storyline. And the good thing is now it's basically telling everybody to stop racism across the board. You know, we are one and peace is the answer, but also kindness is a way forwards as well, isn't it? And everyone's got a story to tell, and it's about people being open to listen in order to understand what a person's gone through. And I think that's the wonderful thing about the movie industry and also the TV industry, because it's a platform and social media and live stream TV shows like ourselves for people to express and share their stories, but also a platform to give people the opportunity to shine bright as well, and encourage other people that they too can do anything if they set their mind to it, just like you did, Jane, you know, going back when the children were younger and supporting them with the theatre, and then thinking, hang on a minute, I'd like to now take the next step forwards and start doing these wonderful movies that you do in these workshops as well. And I think it's just fantastic. and exciting, because every day is different and it's never a dull moment, is it? Like you say, in the film industry.
No, I love it. I love every minute of it. Everything from the very beginning idea right the way through. I mean, obviously there's little ups and downs, but in general, you know, it's just wonderful, and wouldn't stop doing it for anything. I've got loads more things I'd like to do, and yeah. So what I have learned actually is that you have to have an enormous amount of projects on the go. Obviously, some come higher up.
Yeah,
they get developed more and they come further forward, and others lay back, and then, you know, they come forward. And at the beginning I thought, oh, you have to make one film and then see it all through and blah, blah, blah. But you don't. It's best to have a lot on the go.
Yeah.
So how many do you have on the go at one time? Is it someone at your door?
Yes, it's my husband actually knocking to be let in.
You better let him in.
So shall I let him in? Is that okay?
Let him in.
Well, I'll see if he gets in.
Jane.
Right, so I'm so sorry. I don't know why he's forgotten his key. Hold on 1 second.
Don't worry, Jane.
And that's live, guys. There you go.
It certainly is. So it's really interesting topics, isn't it?
It is, definitely, yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic that Jane really loves the period dramas and the also sort of the dark thriller side of things, because there's so many different projects out there.
There's a wide range of projects she's been involved in previously, and obviously at the moment.
I'm so sorry.
It certainly is.
I'm back.
Bless
You're back.
Now, Jane, I would like to ask you, what advice would you give somebody who would like to embark down the acting and film industry pathway, please?
I think you have to have a lot of perseverance. You have to have a lot of drive. I find it quite, I don't know, well, sad's not the right word, but there's a lot of, schools of, acting, or schools now of filmmakers, and they're turning out a lot of enthusiastic, lovely young people, but there just aren't enough jobs for them. So you have to have an incredibly thick skin, and keep trying. If you really love it, then you've just got to, keep going. And I would say go to film festivals as much as possible. I know they've been off because of COVID, but you do meet an awful lot of people there, and you can make connections. I'd say go to networking groups, because you meet people. And I think there was a lady who won a BAFTA who made a film on her phone recently.
Wow. Oh yeah, saw that.
So don't think, so you don't have to go and say, oh, I've got to buy a camera, I've got to get lights. Just go and do something, just do something on your phone, and work up from there as you perhaps have you have a job, and you can save up a bit of money for your camera, and and go on from there. But I don't think, like in the old days where it cost a fortune to have that film on a roll, on a reel, that it doesn't apply anymore. And you can you can edit it on iMovie or something like that, and hey presto, you've got a film. So
you can, and also film it on your phones. I mean, a lot of people do now, don't they? And also like the promo videos, things like that, which is fantastic. Now, with regards to the film festivals, have you ever heard of Peachtree International Film Festival? Peachtree Village, actually.
Yeah.
Peachtree
Village International Film Festival, because we recently interviewed the CEO, Len Gibson, who's the founder of PVIFF, is the short abbreviation, and also James Brown as well. And you could actually submit some of your movies across to those guys. They're ever so lovely, and they're based out in LA.
Okay. Thank you.
And you can also submit music videos as well. And also you've got Ramsgate Film Festival. Sylvia Biatoli, she runs that as well. So you've heard of Ramsgate Film Festival.
Yeah.
And Sylvie does run that. Interviewed Sylvie before, and she's ever so lovely too.
Well, thank you. I'm writing this down.
There's many around.
Down. Yes, I have heard of the Ramsgate one. No, that's good. And I've heard of her name, Sylvia Biatoli. Yeah.
Mm.
So a
Thank
couple
you.
of weeks ago, we did
Yeah,
actually
it was.
interview
Yeah,
Len and James,
Yeah.
and it was leading up to their latest film festival
That's
back
right.
in October, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And it was over 3 days that they actually did it. And the good thing is that they were actually doing it online. So no matter where you were in the world, you can actually still attend it online, which I think, again, is fantastic that you're
Great
able to do that nowadays. If you can't attend, you still don't miss out. And you can sit in the comfort of your own home or in your office and still watch it as well, which is really good, isn't it?
It is. It's
Now, Salima's been showing lots of other videos. Sorry, Jane.
Say that again. Sorry.
Salima's been showing. Sorry, Salima's now showing another crowdfunding, and it's obviously stating on there 350 for one of your workshops. So are most of your workshops £350, or are they between 250 and £350, depending on which workshop they do?
What was that? 350? No, it's their. I don't know where that came from. That 350. It's their 250 to 300,
Sorry,
depending on.
I think it's the internet playing up. It just disappeared.
Can you hear me? Yeah, so they're 250 to 300, depending on where they are.
I think I found it on the internet on your website, actually, that particular picture. Yes, because I was going through your website and I found all these pictures, so I like adding them.
Okay. No, I don't know what that is. The 350.
Okay.
I can't see
And what
it.
locations do you mainly do them in London and Orpington, or do you come down south? I mean, we're actually in Dorset here.
All right. Okay. I filmed.
It was all linked with like crowdfunding underneath as well.
Thank you.
We'll show it again. It's the red little leaflet. There it is. Okay, it's got a need score for your film trailer. So I think actually that was linked to maybe getting a musical score. So if ever you need any music composers, my lovely friend Mark Bustle, he's amazing. I've worked with him many times with K-Dragon Records that I'm signed to. And we've also been writing songs for short movies as well. So if ever you need any song lyrics, I could write them and he could do the composition for you as well. He's fantastic.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Yes,
all good network.
Nice networking we're doing today, Deborah and Tom.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that was just that's the price for that will go towards the crowd fund, the 350. It wasn't the show reels, but yeah.
Oh, okay. It's obviously the wrong one.
Yeah.
Tom's got a couple of questions he'd like to ask you, Jane.
Of course.
Sorry.
Just looking at some of the amazing costumes that you have in some of your productions. It's very period kind of outfits. How do you get the costume? Where do they come from? Do you make them? Can they be? Do you hire them?
Well, I started off hiring. You showed quite a few just then. I started off hiring them, and the first one I did, but then I realised that was quite expensive, and I'd be better off instead of paying £60 to £100 to hire one. I could buy it for that, and then I'd have it, to use next time. And over a period of time, it would work out well. So I do look. I was very lucky because during the lockdown there was. Unfortunately, I was lucky, but it was unfortunate for them. Some costume houses closed, and so I could buy a few bits. But then I search everywhere, all over eBay, Etsy, stuff like that, and just find what I want. I have a picture in my head of what the character's going to look like, and then I sort of I get their measurements. That's in their release form, and then I, try to sort it out. And I have a costume lady. It has been a man, it's been all sorts of things, who fits them, for the show reels. Right. Yeah. And then we did a Fool's Errand, which you may have seen in the carousel of posters that you've kindly put up for me. Fool's Errand was, people were a bit against it, and I'm not quite sure why. So to start with, I did this raffle where you obviously paid a fee, and then I did it live to show I wasn't cheating, and took names out of a hat to see who would, 4 people to go into a short film. And so I got a lot of, sometimes I do get trolling for that. People say, well, why should I pay, pay to play? But to me, for the small amount that you put in, I said any extra for the film would go towards, the Night Riders or Memento Mori. Wasn't there then. So I'm not really like keeping it for myself. I'm kind of offering an opportunity, I thought anyway. And obviously some people did think that, and they took it up, and we made a 1-day short film, A Fool's Errand, which is so exciting. And it was a kind of gothic gothic thriller, really. Yeah. All in costume again. Okay. And that was really good fun. So we made that, and the winners of my monologue competition also want to do a short film. So that was another thing I offered, a prize from the monologue competition that I run, that the 4 winners could do a 1-day short. It comes out about 5 to 7 minutes, something like that. But even it's another IMDb credit, and it's another string to your bow, isn't it? And another bit of experience. So
absolutely, yeah.
I do that. And
yes, fabulous.
Now, you do love the period dramas and also the dark thrillers. I mean, have you thought about maybe looking at different sort of genre of film as well as the ones that you already do, Jane?
Well, I do 3 main ones, which are social issues, which can be anything. I've done ones on child sex trafficking and abuse in the home, all sorts of things like that. And really, Memento Mori is a type of social issue film, if you like. So I like to do that. I like to do thrillers, and I like to do period drama. I don't really, of course I like, but it's not for me. Of course I love comedy, but it's not for me. I can't really write comedy, so that's no good. And rom-coms and stuff like that. Obviously, it's nice to have an uplifting ending as well, isn't it? Not always horrible thing where there's a murderer or something, but so I think you have to kind of stick to what you like. So I don't do action war films, as in obviously in Memento Mori there's an element of war because it's a bit of the Holocaust, but it's not all about the fighting.
Yes, we do like a happy ending.
Yes, I think everybody
now,
does.
I noticed Salima's showing a little clip here. Please, can you tell us a little bit about this clip? Sorry.
What, these ones here? Sorry, which one do you want me to talk about?
Now, this I noticed Salima's playing a new clip, Jane, of one of your short movies.
Oh, I think
you stupid bitch. Make your face look
this is my show reel, my director show reel. This is one about
beat me until my bones break.
It won a lot of awards, and I was very pleased with it. Very pleased with it.
No one really cares.
This was a girl trafficked from Bulgaria, which is Bulgaria and Albania, the 2 worst centres of sex trafficking.
This one, please. Thank you.
Oh, shame.
1 for sorrow, 2 for mirth, 3 for a funeral, 4 for birth.
Oh, that's gone off now. That is part of Swipe Right, the 1 for sorrow. Is that what you wanted?
Or bless her. Salima, can you? Yes, please. I'll ask Salima. Salima, could you please play a little bit more of the clips so the viewers can just watch a short bit of the clip, please? Hopefully, Salima find it. Bless her.
Poor lady. Yeah, so that's obviously your showreel's got all little, like an acting one. It's got all little bits of different films I've done. I've got to do an updated one. Shortly, because it hasn't got any of my newest stuff on that one that we was just showing. So
okay, you're looking for someone, but
this is the con game all about
get up, you stupid
gypsies.
bitch.
This is
Don't
as if I ran,
out there.
He would find me.
The child sex trafficking.
Beat me until my bones break. No one knows.
She's a good little actress, this girl.
It's still a lot going on.
I'm so easily replaceable. I can't go back. Grandma would be too ashamed.
Sorrow, two from Earth, three for
This
a
is
funeral,
from
four
Quite
for
Right, which was my first feature film,
6 for gold,
and that was like a
seven for
thriller with
was
horror
it?
elements.
never to be told.
It's Toya Wilcox.
Oh, Toy was actually in one of your
Why for
films.
Christ's sake, aren't you doing that?
Sorry?
Mother, are
Yes,
you?
he was.
And
She
Toy
was.
Wilcox was in one of yours. What was that one called, Jane?
That was Swipe Right. Toya Wilcox was in that one.
What do you think I'm a fool?
Hannah Ray got into Broadchurch. She was Tennant's daughter. So I got,
That's fantastic.
yeah.
Grandma, where are you? It's Jenny.
This is the same girl who was in the sex trafficking case. This was another feature called Retribution that I did. This is in
I don't have any money, boys.
from
Times are
EastEnders.
hard.
Mason, what you doing home this time of day? Get in here.
Sonny Boy is now grown up. He's got a baby. 10 years old. And he's in loads of things. He's just been in The Rise of the Foot Soldier. And
you under me feet. I've got a good mind to ring that washing
Has he?
yeah,
Really well, bless him.
he's done very well.
Oh,
And
what's he done?
Vicky is a great actress.
Killing is wrong.
Back to Toya.
Is this Vicky?
Toya again. He's the nasty psychiatrist in this film.
Is he?
But you can see I love my locations. Look at the beautiful windows at the back there. It's all very important to me,
Yeah.
my location.
They are. They're fantastic. Wow, look at the location there.
What are you
It's
doing?
funny because my friend who's the singer-songwriter, Lee Stevens, he's just been backing singer for Toya Wilcox while she's on tour in Cambridge recently,
Oh,
just over a
really?
week ago. Yeah.
This is Sophie Ward. She's quite a famous actress. She's more higher in IMDb actually even than Toya, but
Yeah, not really.
This is
They're
all
doing
about
a
mental
lot of
health.
acting now.
Awful, actually. And you do know that painting takes a very long time and you'll be up all night. And don't forget you've got that maths test tomorrow morning.
this is really a bit about psychosis. So the girls from her painting come alive and tell her,
All right, with their thoughts.
yeah, they're
Schizophrenia.
It's
really
cool.
And I see you cover a huge range of topics, Jane, don't you? You know, that a lot of people can actually relate to, which is really important in today's world, isn't it? Like you say, you know, you're covering mental health, child trafficking, abuse, and it's really good to bring more awareness to stop, you know, all of this taking place. I mean, have you ever heard of I Am a Superwoman campaign? They're based in America. And it's Chief Commander Celeste Gleave that actually started it up going back a few years ago. And she does amazing work supporting people and, you know, to promote stopping human trafficking, domestic abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. And it's really sort of going worldwide. And I know now that Celeste is on about bringing it to the UK. So she's in talks of doing something in London next year. So she would be a good contact. I can link you up with Celeste and maybe you could do something with her and work together on a project.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's always interesting to meet new people and make good connections.
It certainly is.
Yeah,
it all helps, isn't it? So, out of all the movies, how many movies altogether have you actually done since starting your film company, please?
I think it's 16 short films, but maybe something like 150 show reels.
Wow, that's loads.
Yeah.
Loads, and then quite a lot of promos. You know, marketing promos. I've made one complete feature film, and I was sort of joint director on part of another film, the Retribution one you saw with John Altman. And now I'm very interested to go into TV, so I'm trying to get the Night Riders into TV, and I've got one or two other things. So because if you think about it, it's great to do a feature film, isn't it? It's 1.5 hours long.
It certainly is.
But then, television, it could be 8 1-hour, episodes, 8 hours.
Spread over 8 weeks or what have you. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And does your husband support you, Jane, with the amazing work that you do? And has he ever thought maybe doing a bit of acting for you as well?
Who? My husband.
Your husband.
Did you say?
Yes.
Well, he was. Probably that's why you're asking. He was in Swipe Right as the chauffeur.
Oh, was he really? You got him involved. That's fantastic.
Yeah, a few minutes. But he's not really an actor. He's been very helpful with what he did like doing very much was obviously when you get a more profile actor, as you know, you have to give them a car and driver.
Yes, you do.
Yes. Yeah, a chauffeur. So he loved that. He loved talking to Toya Wilcox and Sophie Ward, both of them. Yeah, so he picked them up and took them home and loved chatting to them. So yeah, he does like that.
Did you get their autograph as well, Jane? Yeah. Did you get their autograph as well, bless him?
Yes, probably. I don't really know. I didn't ask him too many questions, but he did enjoy that. And he doesn't get involved in the running of it, really. He doesn't get involved with the nitty-gritty. But that's very helpful. Yeah.
They also mentioned John Altman. We were actually due to interview him today, weren't we?
Oh, were you?
Those are all John Altman.
Nasty Nick.
Oh, not Nasty Nick. We were thinking John Altman, the composer. Have you heard of John Altman, the composer? The celebrity composer?
No.
We were due to interview him today, and Skylar unfortunately not very well, bless him. So I think we may be interviewing John next week. But he's a fantastic composer. Look him up, Jane. Okay. John Altman, composer, celebrity composer, John Altman.
Okay.
He's worked with many celebrities. I must admit, we did say that to him when we interviewed him before, and he says, a lot of people do get confused between him and Nasty Nick from EastEnders, John Altman.
Yes. But ironically, I was looking up promo images and so on for John Altman, and actually both of them were in the same image.
Yes.
They have met each other, and they
have. Yeah, they have actually. I think they are actually friends. I remember John saying to me.
Quite confusing.
Because Nasty Nick, I mean, he was in EastEnders many years ago, wasn't he? Yeah, I mean, what's he been up to now, Jane? Does he do quite a few projects with yourself? I mean, he's another fantastic actor, isn't he?
Yeah, that was the first one. And he's done loads of work in between, but he's very nice to work with. He's very talented. And on that same film, he was the sort of nasty gangland boss in that. And I also worked with Danielle Harold, who's still in EastEnders at this moment. She was also an amazing actress.
Was he?
Yeah, sometimes you forget that you often think as, well, perhaps I shouldn't say, but, like, because it's a soap, that the actors and actresses perhaps aren't as versatile. But they are amazing. Well, the ones I've met anyway. Yeah. So... yeah, that was a really lovely surprise, that she was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, she was also a gangland boss, or a gangland boss's daughter who took over the empire. And,
did she?
Yeah.
It sounded lots of fun.
Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah.
So what plans have you got for the future for next year, Jane? I mean, you said you'd like to do a bit more television work. Are there any other sort of plans for next year of projects that you would maybe not necessarily have done yet, but you would like to do next year, for instance?
Well, I'm always, as I think I said to you earlier, that I've got a lot of projects on the go, so that one, because sometimes people say, well, I don't like that, but what else have you got? So you, you can kind of do that. So obviously I would like to make the Memento Mori. Hopefully that will be ready for next year, with the funding and everything. And then the Night Riders, which is the 8-part period drama TV series, I'd love to get that commissioned. I've got another, I've got another TV drama, which is 6 episodes long, called Secret Act, which is modern, a contemporary one. That's a thriller, and I'd like to do that. What else? And The Beekeeper, that is a feature film, a sort of horror thriller. anything, and any of the others, if someone was interested in them, I would bring them up to up to scratch. I mean, I have got one which on the gangster theme, which I did enjoy doing, that Gangster Retribution. I've got one called
movies. They're good fun, aren't they? I've been on a couple of gangster movie sets, and they are good fun. Like, yes, I played a news report in one of them, which is good fun. Yes, and then the next one, I was an undercover MI5 agent in Brutality. So they're just finishing off the editing, then it will go out to film festivals. But again, you can just sort of step into character, can't you?
Yes, it's like being something else that is not you.
Yes, and challenge yourself.
So I've got.
Sorry. Do you do casting as well, Jane? You know, for your roles, so anyone on Facebook can apply to actually be in one of your movies. Do you do any like castings for them?
Yeah, I do. So far, I've really done my own casting, and I've cast for other people's short films as well. I would like to have a casting director, but you've got the unfortunate, you've got to get development money because you have to pay them, something up front to get a few people, and then, then if it gets commissioned, you can pay them some more. So you need quite a chunk of money, to do that. And unfortunately, so far, I haven't kind of got to that stage. But I would love to have a really good casting director who could help me, and they probably got access to.
I might be able to help you out.
All right, tell me.
Because one of my friends, he is also a movie director. He runs Blue Ocean Film Entertainment, but he is also very used to doing castings for film projects, and he works with other movie directors too and supports them. So I can hook you up with Elliot. He's ever so lovely. I'm actually seeing him tomorrow night, so I can put in a good word for you, Jane, if you like.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just one of the, it's very much teamwork filmmaking. So if you have everybody doing their different roles but coming together.
Now, how can people get in contact with you, Jane, if they would like to?
If they'd like to do anything, you mean, or well, on my webpage, www.luminofilms.co.uk, there is. It is,
like you say, it's all about teamwork and everyone supporting one another. And I think that's a wonderful thing about the film industry.
Yeah, very much so. I think, if I could afford it and got bigger budgets, which I'm working towards, I'm trying to step up, then I think, I would like everybody to do everything, because you can't really concentrate on one job fully if you're doing about 6. If you don't, which is what I do. I try to do it as well as I can, but it'd be so wonderful, such a luxury to have. When you see at the end of like a Hollywood movie, you have that huge list of crew, don't you? And it goes on and on and on. Yes. And in fact, on The Night Riders, my short film and my trailer, I think there were about 80, and that's only 15 minutes long. So, you can see on a bigger film there'd be a lot more. And
wow, it's a lot in the credits, isn't it?
Yeah,
it certainly is.
It's quite big,
which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's been my most ambitious project so far, really. The Night Rider.
So tell us a little bit about the storyline of The Night Rider, please, Jane.
The Night Riders is an epic story about really, it's one person, but there's 4 other girls or ladies in it, but one girl sort of fight against the patriarchal and societal restrictions of the day in 1714. So as we kind of all know from our history lessons, women were kind of like goods. They were married who their father told them. They had to do everything their husband said. They lost all their independence, with money, and the children belonged to the husband. And he could, if they did run off or anything like that, which people in society just didn't do because they were outcast, then the husband kept the children. So it was really stacked against them. Education, whilst the brother went off to university to become this, that, or the other, they did embroidery and painting and playing the piano and stuff like that. So the story is about a squire's daughter called Elizabeth, and she is quite feisty, and her father arranges a marriage for her that she doesn't like at all, and she decides, which is incredibly brave of the age, to run off. But at the same time, the Sultan of Morocco, this is all true, it's based on true story. The Sultan of Morocco sent his pirates all over, corsairs or the Barbary pirates, all over Europe and England or UK to find beautiful women for his harem and to get young men to build his palace, because he was in this ridiculous competition with Louis XIV to build a bigger palace than Versailles. This is all true. And you can imagine, obviously now it's very common, but the red hair was very specific to the south coast of England, the south coast of Ireland and Wales. And he had heard about this beauty that he hadn't had. He had 500 women in his harem, 800 children. This is all true. And he's the most prolific in history, of producing a king who's produced, how many children he's produced. So anyway, the story sort of begins with, in one side, he's saying, fetch me the red-haired beauty, hair with hair like the setting sun, that kind of thing. The pirates come, Elizabeth being disobedient, and what happens to her. That's a very basic part of the story. The Night Riders were truly set by the squires of the day to guard their coast. They're the first kind of coast guards and stop these attacks. They were kind of like a horse riding, soldierly coast guard. So that's their part in the story. And then there's 5 other women. They're kind of interwoven stories about, how they rail against society. Some win, some don't. One's the village apothecary who's nearly tried for being a witch. Well, she is tried for being a witch, but she's saved. And then there's a mixed race woman who is the mistress of somewhat Elizabeth's aunt out in the West Indies, where they have the sugar plantations. And he tries to bring her home and disguise her as not disguise her, but, like she's mixed race. She can almost get away with being Spanish, but, all that goes wrong and she's not accepted in society. There's all these different women who are all interwoven in the story as well. So sorry if I rambled on a bit much there.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That sounds amazing. Exciting. And you're actually going to be doing it in 6-part sort of series, are you, all together? I mean, obviously it's going to take you a while to do the filming for it, and if you can do it over like 6 parts.
Well, it's 8 parts, 8 1-hour parts, and they do tell you this when you make your TV Bible.
Sorry, Jane, could you hear what I said? I think the internet's playing up a little bit.
Sorry, say that again. Oh, you want me to say it again? It's 8 parts, and when you make a TV, like a pitch deck, you also have to put the
8 parts all together.
Yeah, 8 episodes. You have to put the next series. So I've actually kind of mapped out 5 series, because in truth it ran from 1714 to 1815. That's the truth. And then the Americans freed up all the sort of prisons which had the slaves in, and it was sort of finished. It was finished then. But yeah, so of course my dream is for every single one to be made. It's got a lot of scope and lots of stories that could go in there. But let's just try to get the first one, commissioned, and we could go from there. So it's a mixture of Bridgerton, Poldark,
like you've done a lot of research.
Yes, a lot of research.
A lot of research about it as well. Bless you.
Yes, yeah, lots. You have to get the facts right, don't you? And or try to anyway. So I do a lot of reading and research around each subject.
It sounds really exciting. Have you watched Bridgerton as well? I did get casted for Bridgerton, and then each time they kept saying they didn't need me on set, and I was gutted.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, I don't know. It was very popular, wasn't it? And I haven't watched it all. I've watched a few.
I know. Unfortunately, in the casting world, you get selected, and then sometimes they don't need you until then.
Oh, really?
It was.
Yeah. That's interesting. But then the lead,
They did a lot of filming in Bath, didn't they, for it as well? A lot of the filming was actually done in Bath, and I got
because it's Georgian there, isn't it? Georgian architecture.
But it's a really good storyline, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
They do actually a lot of filming in Bath, actually, don't they? They do a lot of filming down there. And we have actually had Ammonite. They did, here in Dorset. Ammonite, they did filming down here for Ammonite. And that's actually on Netflix now with, Kate
Winslet.
Regis. I started watching it the other day, actually. Have you seen it?
No,
it's really good. It's got Kate Winslet in it. She is the leading actress in it, Kate Winslet. You can actually watch it on Netflix.
I have seen that. We did film actually part of the Night Riders in Dorset.
I think the internet's paying up a little bit, Jane, again, unfortunately.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Oh, bless you. Well, thank you so much, Jane, for talking to us today.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, and good luck with everything. And thanks for the networking.
Recently? Maybe next time you come down. Yes, I can hear you. Maybe next time you come down, me and Tom could come on. Oh, you're welcome.
That would be wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Bye for now.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll chat further on Facebook anyway, Jane. But thank you so much to each and every one of you. I want to say a huge thank you to our sponsor, Dip in the Pond Landscaping. Can highly recommend. AD's fantastic. So if you want to change your garden or have a bit of landscaping, contact Dip in the Pond Landscaping. Also say a huge thank you to our wonderful London producers, Moinul and Salima as well. And thank you to each and every one of you, and Jane too. And we will be back with more amazing guests in a few weeks' time. So it's bye for me.
And bye for me.
Until next time, take care. Bye for now.